Let's go down on the farm. We have an interesting prospect today. Emaarion Boyd is roughly all over the Phillies prospect list. He's been as high as 13 on some. I've seen him as low as 22, 23 on some others. He fluctuates anywhere between basically 13 and 23 because he's an interesting prospect. And I say that because he might be one of the fastest players in all of the minor leagues. It's not very often on the scout scale of things that you see a guy with speed of 70, potentially an 80. He is a Florida high school kid. He is now 6'1". He's grown 2 or 3 inches since they've drafted him. Slender build at 177. Now, I think the thought was originally that he was going to be a center fielder, and this is where he becomes a little bit of an issue. Center field, his glove is good. His route running to fly balls is not good, according to all the scouts. So, do you put him in a corner outfield? Well, he doesn't really have the pop or the power or the contact you need from a corner outfield. So he's in a tough spot between corner outfield and center field. I think his best route to the majors would be to make it work in center field. But he's 20 years old still, so still a lot of time to develop in the system. Played low A last year, 91 games, a 262 batting average, an impressive 366 on-base percentage. Only had that 1 home run, 36 RBIs. He's a 70-run tool player, which is almost never seen. He did have 56 stolen bases last year, got caught stealing 18 times. So, like, it's they're trying to harness his speed into to become a better baseball player. It seems like he's just one of these freakish athletes that they're trying to make become a baseball player. He's obviously a baseball player, but like if you're taking bad routes and you're getting stolen with that speed at that high of percentage, like you got to work on some stuff. So he's an interesting prospect, athletic as hell, pretty good numbers with terms of on base, although some scouts have pointed out he did get hit by, I think, 18 or 19 pitches last year, which kind of inflates that a little bit, but he does have a good eye in the strike zone. He's not a hacker. I think he swings at like 46% of pitches. So he appears to have a decent eye.
Yeah, for Boyd as a fast base runner, he was ranked coming out of high school 66 overall, 15 for outfielders, and coming out of Batesville, Kenzias is his middle name, actually. Coming out of Batesville, Mississippi, he was number 1 overall for both. So has had a lot of youth success, I should say. But I think a big part of that is because he's been a freakish athlete. And I've said this before about prospects. The important thing to keep in mind for these guys coming out of high school or even out of college is a lot of them have been able to rely on their natural talent of their speed or their hitting skills and haven't had coaches that have refined that. And I get that vibe from him. I actually think I'm kind of in between. I know you guys are talking with Vince about this, and you guys were kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm somewhere in the middle because I think it's always great when you can get some talent that's a little bit more raw around the edges, but has the skill set to be able to make strides. So he needs to add power to his game. His defense and base running definitely adds value, though. He's already bulked up a little bit. They've talked about him putting on a little bit more weight since he's a little bit slender. His grading for his different categories is a 50 for hits, 40 for power, run at a 70, arm 45, field 55, and overall 45. And not a lot of high drafted or not a lot of high school players coming out of Mississippi have been able to make it to the majors. I mean, there's that whole state has not provided a ton of baseball talent. Austin Riley is one of them that's come out of Mississippi that's done really well, but there's been a huge gap. So reports have indicated he fits the mold of Billy Hamilton as a speedster with the same questions about offensive impact. He played well enough in the showcase circuit and in his senior year to attract the Phillies' attention, which is why they took him 11th in the 2022 draft. So obviously known for his speed.
11th round.
I'm sorry, yes, 11th round. Huge difference. Huge difference. 11th round. Just 11 overall, guys.
But with baseball, 11th
it's like, round.
It doesn't matter.
A
good player can come from anywhere.
Right. So speed and ability is the biggest things that have been highlighted for him. Short and quick right-handed swing, which does put the ball in play. does rarely strike out. But as you mentioned, there's other reasons why he's not striking out as much, such as getting hit by a lot of pitches.
Yeah, Mickey Durkin
And just
says what I
needs
said
some
to Tyler
understanding in some areas of his game.
before the show. He sounds like a healthy Roman Quinn.
One of the comps that Fangraphs used was Nyjer Morgan, and if he becomes Nyjer Morgan and he's a utilizable bench piece, that's fantastic. But the thing with Nyjer Morgan is, he played almost a decade and was like a 270-ish, maybe even 280. I'll go double check his numbers. He was a career 282 hitter. Now, obviously his sample sizes were sometimes not large, but that guy was a 282 hitter. I'm not sure Boyd ever becomes a 282 hitter. So to comp him to a guy like Morgan,
it's pretty good in today's baseball.
I think that's. I don't know if Boyd's able to achieve what Nyjer Morgan did over a 7-year career.
Not to mention, we've heard this song and dance before, guys, that he's a great, speedy center fielder, has long-term future in center field because of that, has improved his instincts in tracking fly balls, but his ceiling is that of a speedy table setter if he can translate the strength gains to impact at the plate.
Well,
sound familiar?
Here's
We've
the
heard
concern.
this before.
He had the second lowest exit velocity of all minor league players last year. He does not hit the ball hard. He has a 60% ground ball rate, which can be fine if you're Ichiro. But when you're connecting on, that few of pitches that weekly or meekly, I guess I should say, it's reason for big concern. And I think he only had 14 extra base hits all of last year. So, yeah, speed's great, but you need something else to go with it.
Yep.
His fielding does sound like it can be good, but again, you're not going to have the bat to play corner outfield. You're kind of pigeonholing yourself into center field play. And to be an everyday center fielder, he'll have to probably eclipse Johan Rojas, but you're going to have to improve that bat. And look, he's exciting, he's intriguing, he's athletic. You obviously take shots on kids like this, but I'm not going to go after reading all the scouting reports and reading up more on him. Definitely a kid I'd like to go to they project he could make the Jersey Shore team this year after Clearwater last year. So he's a kid I'd love to go get some eyes on this year, and maybe we'll do a road trip up to Reading and Jersey to look at him. Exciting. Again, one of these kids you kind of circle, but I'm not going to go put all my eggs in Emaarion Boyd's
I know Spiral Out saying, sounds like a track star. The Phillies, a lot of what the reports have said between all of what we shared and what has been read is the fact that they are encouraged by his speed, but they know that they need to work on his at-bats and getting him to drive the ball more, getting him stronger, getting him to bulk up. So a lot of potential. A lot of potential, it seems like, but some major areas that need work as we talk about with his hit.